are many great third-person stealth action shooters available, and some of them are even making a return. But there is one series that many fans are still hopeful for. That game is Syphon Filter.
Syphon Filter.
Syphon Filter is a third-person stealth shooter game series that was developed by Ben Studios and published by Sony's 989 Studios for the PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation Portable. You may know Ben Studio for Days Gone. The first game, Syphon Filter, was released in 1999 for the PlayStation. You play as Gabriel Logan, an agent of the International Presidential Consulting Agency, or IPCA. The name Syphon Filter is the name of a biological weapon that can be programmed to target specific genotypes, leaving certain people alive while killing only its victims. Gabriel is tasked with stopping a deadly virus called Syphon Filter from falling into the wrong hands. The game features a mix of stealth, shooting, and puzzle-solving elements as you traverse various locations around the globe. The story unfolds through cutscenes and in-game dialogue, revealing a conspiracy involving rogue agents, government corruption, and global terrorism. Everyone that I knew that owned a PlayStation either had this game or at least rented this game from Blockbuster. Syphon Filter was successful and universally loved, receiving high scores anywhere that mattered. It sold over 900,000 units, and because of its popularity, Sony immediately gave the green light for 989 Studios to make various sequels to the game.
Wait! Stop! Don't shoot! Do you have something less painful, maybe?
A crossbow?
Too messy.
A grenade launcher?
Ouch.
How about the taser?
Yeah, taser wouldn't be bad. It might leave a little rash mark.
Oh. Syphon Filter 2 is rated M for mature.
Excuse us, Mr. Logan.
We then have Syphon Filter 2, which was released in the year 2000 for the PlayStation. It is a direct sequel to the first game. The plot picks up immediately after the first Syphon Filter ended. Gabriel and Leon set out to cure the virus while being targeted as terrorists by the United States government. The game maintains the blend of third-person shooting, stealth, and puzzle-solving elements that made the original popular. Players navigate through various missions across different locations, including Moscow and New York City, using a mix of tactics to progress. Syphon Filter 2 returns with improved graphics, new weapons, gadgets, and multiplayer modes. In multiplayer, players can kill each other in a deathmatch to reach the set amount of points necessary to win. There are a total of 20 multiplayer maps, many different weapons to use, and 28 characters to choose from, which are reoccurring characters from the Syphon Filter series. Syphon Filter 2 was also successful and received praises for the changes that were made and had sold over 1 million units. It was even added to the premium collection of PlayStation Plus in 2022. There was no reason to mess up the success of the series, so a third game was made.
Logan, you ever assassinate a world leader?
No, never.
Syphon Filter 3 released in 2001 for the PlayStation and continues the story of Gabe and Leon picking up immediately after the events of Syphon Filter 2. The plan was to have the game released for the PlayStation 2, but the developers argued that many players still had the first PlayStation, so it would sell better at that time, which ended up being a smart decision. Syphon Filter 3 is actually a prequel viewed in flashbacks with the exception of the last two missions. Special Agents Gabe and Leon stand accused of conspiring to spread the Syphon Filter virus around the world. You play as Gabe Logan or Leon to discover the truth about their past and the genesis of the deadly Syphon Filter project. Multiplayer mode returns with over 20 characters, new weapons, and 11 maps. Syphon Filter 3 received mixed reviews and was praised for its graphics, gameplay, storyline, and level design. It was just recently added to the PlayStation Plus Premium Classic catalog in 2023.
Strong leadership. That's what we need to create real change. If I'm elected, I promise...
Listen carefully. Yes,
I'm talking to you. You've been selected to join our agency as a remote operative.
your mission directives are available for download now. Take care.
Go for me, John Cody.
Tune in tonight for all the late-breaking news from around the country, including stories.
Please listen carefully.
You've been selected to join our agency as a remote operative. To achieve your mission's objectives, you must join forces with other agents online. Rated M for mature. So stay informed. Stay with us, your top source for news.
The series continued and made a return in 2004 with the fourth game, The Omega Strain, for PlayStation 2. Gabe is now a commander of a government agency that leads the global investigation of viral outbreaks in order to stop a deadlier strain of Syphon Filter. But this time, you do not get to play as Gabe. Omega Strain allowed players to create their own character as a new recruit for the agency. Gabe and Leon do appear, but only as supporting non-playable characters. With the new graphics, new plot, new enhancements, and online play, it was definitely a game that had a lot going for it. Some fans loved it, but not everyone felt the same. Other fans felt that the game almost killed the entire series, especially as fans were so used to playing as Gabe. It was then time to return to what works with the fifth game, Dark Mirror.
Drop me here and head to the comm tower.
Copy that. Rendezvous in 10.
Leon, I'm inside the compound.
Copy that. Gabe, they were ready and waiting for us.
Yeah, they were waiting. But I guarantee they're not ready.
Syphon Filter Dark Mirror was released in 2006 for the PlayStation Portable. The series brings back Gabe Logan and tested the boundaries of the PSP. This was intentional because the developers loved the idea of using the PSP to play anywhere. In Dark Mirror, Gabe Logan commands a black box US agency that legally does not exist. While investigating the paramilitary group Red Section, Logan uncovers a project known only as Dark Mirror. The multiplayer mode supports up to 8 players in a single game. Players can use the PSP headset online to chat with others in the pre-game lobby and in-game. Multiplayer allowed for 4 different game modes, including team and free-for-all deathmatches and 2 different co-op games. The game also allows you to replay all missions for special bonus material. A port of Dark Mirror for the PlayStation 2 was released in 2007 with updated graphics but did not have multiplayer. A lot of the mature content was removed, and as a result, the PlayStation 2 version was rated T for teen. The last installment of the franchise was Syphon Filter Logan's Shadow.
We don't have time to go over all the details, Logan. We need you on site now.
All right, Logan out.
Syphon Filter Logan's Shadow was originally released for the PSP in 2007, and it was later ported to the PlayStation 2 just like Dark Mirror. Gabe receives a mission to retrieve stolen military equipment from the Somali pirates while discovering that his partner, Leon, could be a double agent. It is the first game not to be based off a virus plotline, but rather follows conspiracies and double agents. Logan's Shadow includes underwater levels which have never been seen before, and special weapons such as harpoon rifles, bolt cannons, and other firearms. You can use enemies as human shields and use blind fire. This allows the player to shoot from cover that forces the enemies to also run to cover. Players can play as new factions in 5 game modes. Logan Shadow was another successful game and loved by many fans. Logan Shadow features a playable sneak preview from the main menu of Combat Ops. Combat Ops is actually the last game in the series and does not get mentioned enough. Combat Ops was released on PSP in 2007 and was a multiplayer game where players face off in multiple maps. Combat Ops expands the multiplayer experience that is presented in Syphon Filter Dark Mirror and Logan Shadow and adds mission and combat modifiers along with map editing features and the ability to share user-generated content. Players can create their own multiplayer missions and can edit objectives, avatars, spawn points, and zipline locations. You can then upload them to the game server to share with other PSP owners worldwide. As of June 2012, Syphon Filter, Logan Shadow, Dark Mirror, and Combat Ops Online feature were shut down. So, where is Syphon Filter now? David Jaffe, who you should know for the Twisted Metal and God of War series, spoke to Jeff Ross and John Garvin from Days Gone about Syphon Filter. Jeff said that at some point, someone in Sony had asked if they can work on Syphon Filter while they plan and make their next big game. Jeff has said that he had 0 ideas on how to reboot Syphon Filter and was not interested and wanted to pitch an open world Resistance game instead. But Sony was also not interested in that.
They asked us to kind of like, hey, what about a Syphon Filter? We're more interested in a Syphon Filter.
Wait. Don't gloss over that.
Because I want to hear about this too, Jeff, because I have not heard the story. So are there any other IPs that we have that we can use, right? And the only ones we had were Syphon Filter. I have 0 ideas on how to reboot Syphon Filter.
What's interesting is that David Jaffe had said in another video that Sony gets a lot of fan requests to have the game revived.
Syphon Filter, my understanding is Sony gets requests 2-3 times a day still for another Syphon Filter. Who knows?
If Sony listens to their fans, then they must have something cooking for the series revival. The PlayStation blog had posted about a Syphon Filter digital graphic novel called Opposition Effect that was never released. There's a series of Easter eggs, references, and collectibles that reference Syphon Filter throughout Days Gone. In this theory, Gabe had failed to save the world, which led to the outburst that you see in Days Gone. Let's take a look at the facts.
This isn't a spoiler. Yes, there are specific references to Syphon Filter that you can go into the labs where Sarah used to work, and you can find these dossiers and these documents where they're talking about the not just the Syphon Filter virus, but all sorts of other sort of clandestine, biological weapon programs, and that's one of them. So, does that put them firmly in the same universe? You found this document in this lab that's in the Days Gone universe, so the answer to me seems pretty obviously yes. Does that make Days Gone a sequel? No.
The last time that we received some sort of a clue that they may be working on Syphon Filter's revival was from a tweet in 2023 from Ben Studios. The tweet says, "Syphon your filter." Although it is subtle, it may be a way of them letting us know that they are still working on the series. This is the last time that we heard anything from a revival towards Syphon Filter. A special thanks to the fans that voted in the Syphon Filter Reddit page which game they feel is the best, and most votes went to Syphon Filter 2. What do you think? Should Syphon Filter just stay dead and let the virus consume it? Should Ben Studios work on Days Gone or another game instead? Let us know. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to help our channel grow. This video is part of our Lost Game series, where we speak about fan favorite gems like this one and many others that deserve a remake and or sequel. Plus, check out our other videos like Gaming Conspiracies or Gaming History and more at Game Circle TV.